All right, everyone, welcome back into another live stream. Doing a live stream here for round two, which I haven't done, I don't know, ever on this channel. Mostly just Wednesday live streams to kind of take you guys' questions. So we're going to be looking at a little bit of the recap of round one of the Travelers Championship. Kind of interesting results thus far. And then just going to be getting into some props content for you guys, some showdown content. And then if I remember, some bets that we can get into as well, specifically head-to-head bets. I seem to always forget that. So hopefully I don't forget that. If I do, guys, when I'm trying to get out of here, let me know in the comments as well there. But yeah, let's go ahead and get into a quick little round one recap here. So looking at right now, again, I wasn't really shocked with the ownership in general. We can kind of sort by ownership. The ownership was very much spread out, which is what my expectations were for ownership in general. And so that is something that we saw did come to fruition. And I didn't really see any mistakes at all. I forget which play it was. Oops, whoopsie. Forget which play it was. There was one play in like a cash that I felt was a little bit overowned. I can't think of it off the top of my head. This is GPP ownership, but again, nothing too crazy. I would say everything was mostly correct there. When we look at who's winning it, Tom Kim is currently winning it. Yeah, we don't expect that to continue, or even Ricky. That's kind of the strange thing. A lot of the plays that are kind of on the top end of this leaderboard, definitely more random. So I do expect maybe I kind of mentioned that there might be a little bit of a US Open hangover for a decent amount of those players. And I do kind of think that that is something we could potentially be seeing right now is just a little bit of golfers kind of having that US Open hangover. And I don't know if you guys think that's a thing, but it kind of seems to be that way with kind of how the leaderboard's looking. I mean, you look at Scotty, he shot -5. Like he's fine. You look at Xander, shot -5. But there are some sloppy mistakes here and there with some of those guys. Tony Finau continued his good golf, but I do expect golfers that were good plays coming into this week to, throughout the weekend, stack up that leaderboard. Plays like Hideki, Morikawa, Xander, Finau, Scotty, Aubert finished -3. Someone I do expect to climb that leaderboard as well. So definitely some more randomness on the top end, but for the most part, I mean, nothing too crazy there. Like you're not too shocked about that. And so we can go ahead and kind of just jump into kind of the takeaways from that, maybe in terms of showdown, kind of what we can expect. And we can start with that. But I do real quickly want to call out one prop bet that was kind of standing out, or a couple of prop bets that were standing out, just because I want you guys to be able to take advantage of these basically right away. So I just want to call these out real quick. I'm just trying to change the slide real quick. And so there we go. Just the header for the prop. So round two props. I want to call it these two right here. Now, on paper, these two aren't going to be like the best. But given the fact that we have a middling opportunity, that is kind of huge. And so we got Jordan Spieth and Shane Lowry. What we're seeing here is that the underdog line and the PrizePicks line are off by 1. If you guys have been following me, maybe on my main channel or on this channel, or mostly on the Discord channels when I get a chance to call these out because they get bumped so fast. But this is where golf can be the most profitable is these middles. Two of my best days thus far this year have been in situations like this where we are getting two big prop line differences. And there's actually one on pick 6 as well that I'll touch on in just a second. But I want to call this out. So we look at the average greens and regulations from last year, guys. It was at about 13, which was pretty high. We look at the live data, about the same as well. So the fact that that's true, I actually don't mind that with this. I mean, that's not terrible. So the fact that these are in the middle, that makes me pretty excited. But chances are when we are doing a bet like this, we are mostly betting on how the course is going to play, which to me is something that I like. I would rather bet on how the course is going to play. And again, so we get that opportunity there with Underdog and PrizePicks. Let's see here. There was another one that I wanted to call out as well. EV betting wise. So looking at right now, we got Cameron Young for his strokes right now. On Underdog, it's at 68. On PrizePicks, it's at 68.5. We go to something like pick 6, though, and we're going to see his strokes prop is at 69.5. Guys, this should be the most bet prop on the board tomorrow for pick 6. I'm not sure exactly how many guys play on pick 6, but this should absolutely be almost 100%. I'm not even joking. Like, this is a massive prop line difference. This should not be happening. Even if you don't think he's going to shoot under 69.5, that's fine. I'm actually curious. What did he shoot? in round 1. I don't even remember. I know it was bad. +2. Okay, whatever. That's kind of fine. What did he do? And I can look this up in terms of like, is he supposed to improve? So we'll look at this. Lost strokes on approach and strokes gained putting. And we can look at that. I'll look at that in just a second here. But the point is the fact that's at 69.5, and then you could bet the less than here and then go back to this. We can bet the over on underdog. Like that's another middle that we can do. And like that ends up being pretty huge. Now, the one caveat that we have with that is when we do pick 6 bets, we also have to do some sort of fantasy points bets. I would. That's kind of what I want to go with. So it'd probably be Tom Kim or Shane Lowry for over their fantasy points, because I don't like messing with pars. I don't like messing with bogeys or worse. There's not that many options there. The birdies are better props that we're getting seem to be correct as well. So again, the biggest edges that we are getting are going to be in the strokes, and there are other ones out there. I believe Max Homa we could do less than. I believe it was Jordan with another one, and then Wyndham Clark as well. But you do have to attach some sort of over bet there, which if you guys are going to be running an underdog bet, again, running out the middle, I think that's a great route. And so we could run Cameron Young over strokes. And then again, you could attach those 2 big prop line differences that we got. And since I'm kind of talking about props, let's just stick with props here real quick. I'm not touching this one again with Scotty for under his birdies or better. I'm curious, did that one actually end up hitting? Let's see. Because that was like the top bet for PGA today was Scotty for, yeah. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that did end up hitting 5.5, the under there. I just don't want to bet that. Like I don't know. I don't want to bet against Scotty. He did have some kind of close misses. Also had that eagle putt, which was nice, but I don't know if I exactly want to bet on that. I don't know if you guys want to either. So that's gonna be what I'm sticking away from. And then we are kind of seeing that, yeah, chances are the birdies are better. Probably will go down. But again, that's not exactly something I do want to be targeting too much. I wouldn't mind the over fairways hit. I was actually really surprised at the amount of fairways hit. Last year, averaged about 10.6. This year, only about 8.8 so far. And so maybe that's something that gets corrected, or maybe that's just due to the course changes that occurred here. So definitely a weird balancing act there. So with that, let's kind of jump into a little bit of just round 2 stats, and that'll kind of pivot us into a little bit of like Showdown talk. So, let me get that ready here as well. If you guys have any questions, be happy to answer those as well. A little bit different format from what I typically would do. And if you guys like the live stream a little bit better, also let me know. That's something I can try to do. Again, just with the timing and everything, it's always a little bit more difficult. But yeah. So I did want to pull up Cameron Young just to see if he's someone that is due to have a better day putting and just in general. So let's do that. And so Cameron Young putting, strokes gain approach. Let's see here. So he typically gains slightly on approach. So that's something we do expect to get a little bit better. Strokes gain putting, typically not that bad. So he probably will have a better day putting as well. So all in all, yeah, he probably is going to have a better day in general. I know a lot of people like to look at just strokes gain putting improvement in general. So let's just take a peek at that as well. So I'll put the whole field back into this just so we can take a peek at that. Which players are going to be the most likely to improve putting? That's just what we're looking at here. Tagala is going to be an option there, coming in 33rd place. I think he's going to be someone that's actually popular in round 2 showdown. So that'll be for you guys to decide what you want to do with him. He is someone that I believe, going back to like pick 6, I believe he was, what was the prop? Maybe birdies are better. Maybe. Oh, yeah. I was surprised that it was at 4.5, but I guess everyone's is at 4.5, so not really a big difference maker there. But he's due to putt better. Denny, Ben Griffin, Russell Henley's kind of the big one there to me. That's the big one that stands out to me. So Russell Henley was someone that was projected to play well this week. Did struggle, and the fact that he's projected to putt better, I do like that. Andrew Putnam is someone that really kind of struggled down his back 9 closing out his round. And so he's someone I do think value-wise you could look at. And I actually don't mind like Adam Schenk. He's a value play. Jake Knapp, value play that you could get to. And then obviously on the flip side, Tom Kim not going to putt as well. Ricky has not putted that well. Kurt Kitayama, unfortunately, I kind of mentioned to you guys, he was one of my favorite kind of GPP value plays. Probably had the most upside of the values that I was on, but also probably had the most risk. Love the fact that he had a good round. Have some really strong Xander Scotty builds going with him right now. Fingers crossed that that continues, but might not continue. And I don't think that's really a big shock to anyone. We'll also look at it from a strokes gain total perspective. Really no shock there in terms of who's likely to struggle. But Billy Horschel, someone that could get better. Adam Scott, but Russell Henley. Russell Henley's the biggest takeaway here. He's probably someone we're looking at round 2 showdown. And I do like the fact that Russell Henley is going to have that round 1 tee time or early tee time. Sorry, that round 2 early tee time. I do like that aspect as well for him. So let's go ahead and pull up the showdown tab. And I already have it sorted by who we want to be targeting showdown wise. Got a quick comment from Mike T. Enjoying the content. Keep it up, man. Appreciate that. Thank you. But yeah, looking at round 2 showdown, no surprises here, I would say. Kind of more of the same. Scotty, Xander going to be 1 and 2. Some people might be surprised to see Hideki there, then Obear, then Sam Burns. Corey Connor still popping up in there, but we are still seeing. I thought maybe I'm seeing stuff. I thought I saw Russell Henley popping up in there. Oh yeah, right here. 19th best Russell Henley. So like not terrible. Would want that to be a little bit better, but if we look at it in terms of regression, and this is something that I don't mind looking at, like which golfers are the ones that are going to have the best rounds, most likely. I have to see what's going on here. That's strange. I think this is just set for 165 or 156 man field, the normal size. Yeah, that's just what that is. So it's still the same, but still reads the same, I should say. But Tagala is going to be number 1 there. Keegan, that's interesting. Xander actually could play a little bit better. So that's interesting there as well. Where the heck is Henley then? Let's just do a quick search. And again, I'll have to take a peek at what's going on there. 110. So, not terrible. So he might play a little bit of the same, but I don't know. I kind of feel like Russell Henley is going to be the correct play there, showdown wise. But let's see here. Let's see by early tee times. So if you're trying to target early tee times, which I don't mind, I think that's a good strategy to go with. I do like Xander. I think Obear's, those are probably the 2 starting points. And let's see, do I have this pulled up? I believe so. So like you're probably just starting with those 2. Like I feel pretty comfortable with that. Henley is priced up for round 2 showdown, which is unfortunate. I will say Willie Z at his price tag feels like a fish play, honestly, but 6.9, that is a very cheap price tag. He was someone that, I mentioned U.S. Open hangover for players that made the cut. He didn't have that. He missed the cut. He got his kind of mental reps in and physical reps in earlier on in the course there. Like that's kind of the beauty of missing the cut at a major. You don't have that mental grind then for 2 more days. So he seems to be swinging a little bit freer. And I will say at that price tag, Willie Z is certainly going to be appealing. And kind of for a first look build here for you guys. And I'll show you guys what the lineup optimizer is telling me as well. That's a play that does make sense to me. Danny McCarthy is someone that could putt better. He didn't play terribly. Harris English, I like his price tag. Those are all plays we can get to, and we really can. 7.3 with 2 of the best plays. Again, Scotty, we probably still want to be getting to, but really don't mind this route that we're going. Adam Schenk is someone that should putt better. +4, don't exactly love that, but if you go minimum price, you can fit a lot more players in there. Again, Andrew Putnam is someone that should putt a little bit better. But if you wanted to do studs and duds, you could easily make that work. If you want to go with Tony Finau here, you could. Corey Connors, you could. So, really not a bad lineup path that we have going there. Let's go ahead and make one pivot here. And I want to see if lineup builder wise, can you see this? Not really. Let's see. Let me move that over a bit. There we go. Editing on the fly there. You got to love it. But looking at, so what I did with the lineup builder, the 9-5 lineup builder, 3 unique players, 30% max exposure. That's typically what I do for round 2 showdown. Typically the best in terms of showdowns. Like round 2 is the it's the bread and butter. That's the one everyone should be playing. But Getting a lot of Hideki, getting a lot of Tagala, Sam Burns, Keegan, Siwoo. A lot of the players that were just popping up data-wise are now popping up here as well, which I like to see. You got Xander in there. Obear, only 25%. That's a little bit of a concern, and maybe a little bit too much of Webb Simpson at 25%. That's probably the one manual change I make to this. I might put Webb at 15%. That's really the only difference. And obviously, he's getting pulled in there because it's trying to do studs and duds. And maybe I get to a little bit more Adam Schenk then. That's probably the only difference. Let's see, Andrew Putnam as well. Like those are the slight differences that I'll make in this. But I like what it's putting out right now. And again, the number one mistake that I make when it comes to entries is not letting the data do what the data does. That's typically my biggest regret. So I feel pretty good about this. I do real quickly want to get back into the Showdown tab and just talk about win rank. Because we're going to get into some live bets here. So again, let me get that pulled up. If you guys have any questions, let me know. I'd be happy to answer those. As long as they're not dumb questions. Just kidding. We'll just title this bets. There we go. So win rank is something that I came up with a couple of years ago. And this is basically looking at, again, I need to see what's going on here, why it's pulling in like this. I know it's set for 156 golfers, but kind of regardless, it still reads the same. 1 and 2 win rank wise. Oh, and I gotta put the screen back. 1 sec. Still a little bit too much. There we go. Editing on the fly. I love it. But Scotty Scheffler and Xander are going to be 1 and 2 there. And I think that's kind of huge because when we go ahead and look at something like the best EV bets right now, and this is something I put out on Twitter, Xander Schauffele, outright wise, is one of the better EV bets. He started at 7.5 to 1. Well, he started at like 9 to 1 before Rory withdrew, jumped down to 7.5 to 1, which I still felt was a good bet. And then now he's one of the better EV bets at 6.5 to 1. Like that is still pretty good. And he shot a pretty good score. Like I don't think we're too worried about Tom Kim winning this one after round 1 shooting a -8. And so he's really just one shot off the lead. That's kind of how I like to look at that, especially in terms of like trying to jump on an outright bet. We know that Tom Kim had an outlier round. That was clear to see. Don't expect that to continue. And you do expect other golfers to be able to make that up over the course of 3 more rounds. And so the fact that we can still get, sorry, that's Scotty, Xander at 6.5 to 1, like to me, that's pretty huge. And I love the fact that the data is telling us that's a good EV bet as well. So what makes a good EV bet? The average lines have it about 15% for him to win. Xander, that is. Whereas you look at PointsBet, FanDuel, and BetMGM, they have it about 13.3% chance to win. So that's a big edge that you can gain there. Like those small little differences that you can make, that does add up. And so let's see here. While that's loading, I'll pull up the odds as well. So some sites have it at 5.5. So it's not like a massive edge, but it still is. And so we'll see Scotty, Xander, and then Tom Kim are the top 3, which makes sense. It's kind of how the data read as well. But like, I don't know, could this be the week that Tony finally figures it out? I don't mind that as like a live outright bet, but probably not one I want to go on too much. So we look at like a payout difference there. You're getting, let's say you made a $10 bet, you're basically gaining about $8.25, which I don't know your unit size. I just have it set for $10. That's like a baseline. I didn't want to have to set it like 1. That's still pretty good. And then another bet that's popping up slightly. Again, this stuff adds up in the long term. Tony Finau, you're probably not betting on Bet365, but you could bet him top 10 there. Slight payout difference there. Again, that stuff all adds up. I don't mind that. And then after that, nothing too crazy. And so like live bet wise, I don't feel the need to really do any live bets, to be honest with you, because I feel pretty comfortable with where I'm at with those bets that we were on earlier. So with that, let's go ahead and jump into the last portion of this video. That's going to be the 3-ball bets, really head-to-head bets right now. Xander, I I don't really get why they paired the second best golfer up in the world with Pavon. Like, what? I didn't get to watch that many Xander shots on featured golf coverage, and then I turned it to regular coverage, and that was fine. But he's someone that you could bet to win his head-to-head. You're not going to get much of a payout for that. Really, what we're going to see here is that obviously Scotty more likely to win. Sam Burns, we know, more likely to win. Those are no shocks. Aubert, most likely to win. Those are no shocks. Tommy Fleetwood over Lucas Glover. A little bit of a decent payout there, but still not too much. What I want to see here are these ones that are going to be 2 or higher. And so what we're going to see is maybe Matthew Fitzpatrick, someone that we could look at, maybe Brian Harmon, Corey Connors, and then again, Cam Young. A lot of people probably aren't going to want to make that bet, and I kind of get it, but that's what we could be looking at. And then even, I probably don't want to do this because Keegan's a pretty solid play in round 2 as well. That's probably a close spread. But Fitzpatrick over Adam Hadwin pays out decent. Brian Harmon over Tom Hoagie pays out decent. Corey Connors over Tom Kim. That's a pretty strong one. And then Cameron Young over Patrick Rogers. That's a decent one there as well. So, nothing too crazy, but all decent prop bet or all decent head-to-head bets that you can run out there as well. But that's mostly going to conclude it here. Don't need this video to go too long. 23 minutes here, about 50 people watching. If you guys are watching this on Twitter/X, make sure to just like the video before you leave. That is an easy way to help out the channel. And same thing on YouTube, guys. Just leave a thumbs up before you leave. I do appreciate that. If you guys want access to any of these tools that you saw in this video, you know where to go. Head on over to 9to5sports.com. Available for just $10 a month. Gives you access to all the tools on the website. And if you guys do use that underdog, prop line difference strategy that I mentioned between pick 6 and PrizePicks, one, you should. That's a pretty big edge between pick 6 and underdog at least. Use the promo code 925, the letter spelled out. That'll give you 100% match on a deposit of up to $100. All right, that's going to be all for tonight's video. Good luck with your round 2 picks and bets and showdown plays. All right, thanks for watching, everyone. Good luck, and as always, let's keep cashing.